Hey everybody, this is Pastor B with Tuesday's Touch for March the 23rd, and we have been looking into the life of Jonah and the ministry of Jonah. We last left with Jonah telling the city that in 40 days God was going to destroy it, and the people heard this, and the king of Nineveh positioned the people spiritually. He said, put on sackcloth and don't let anybody eat. Everybody go on a fast in the hopes that God might see that, and then God might change God's mind and not destroy the city. And what we talked about was how leaders position people spiritually before they position them physically. How leaders position people spiritually first before they work on their physical positioning. Because we know that you can be physically strong, right? But if you're mentally and spiritually weak, your muscles won't help you. But if you are mentally and spiritually strong, you don't have to have as many muscles because your muscles will endure as long as your mind does. We talked about that. It's what the king did. He positioned them spiritually, not just physically. Picking up here in Jonah chapter 3, verse 6, we see that the king did something else. Jonah 3:6 says that when Jonah's warning reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, took off his royal robes, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat down in the dust. We see another example of great leadership in this pagan king, in that not only did he position them spiritually, talked about that last time, but he also led them by example. The Bible says that before they did, that he put on the sackcloth and he sat in the dust. He tore his royal robe so that he led them by example. Leaders lead by example. Before we ask other people to invest, we invest. Before we ask other people to sacrifice, we sacrifice. Before we ask other people to stay late and do more, we stay late and do more. Leaders lead by example. Who wants to invest in something and do something when the person that's asking them to do it won't do it? No, that's not leadership by example. Leaders lead by example. And this is not only something that we see in the king of Nineveh, it's also a leadership principle that Jesus used. You remember, he says in Matthew 28, go and make disciples of all nations. Well, guess what he did? He made disciples, made 12 of them. We also see in Matthew chapter 16, verse 24, Jesus says that if anyone will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. What did Jesus do? He denied himself. He came from heaven down here, put himself in a position of pain and struggle. He took up a cross and carried that thing all the way to Calvary because he knew that leading only happens when it's done by example. I want you to think of all the leaders in your life that you respect, right? The supervisors and the bosses and the political leaders, even your parents. I bet you that the ones that you respect the most, that you hold in the highest esteem, are the ones that led by example. That didn't just give you that whole do as I say, not as I do, but that led you by what they did and challenged you to come up to their level. Lead by example. The leadership of the king of Nineveh, this leadership by example, helped to redeem and to save the whole city. We'll see that next week. God bless you. God keep you. This is Pastor B with Tuesday's Touch. I hope that you're preparing your mind spiritually, your heart spiritually, preparing yourself for an amazing Easter week, amazing resurrection celebration and Holy Week. We got a lot coming at St. James. Be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, this is Pastor B. Lead by example. You have been touched.